Okay, how about this for an idea for the new James Bond movie? We have our new James Bond in some sort of situation where he's escaping and he has to kind of get his memorabilia, everything that matters to him. He scoops it out of his drawers. He has to leave the flat in Belgravia. He has to leave the flat in Belgravia because it's literally going to be blown up. There's a bomb in the building, right? And he is then chased past Buckingham Palace, all the way through London, all the way through the Kingsway Tunnel and all that kind of thing. And finally manages to, I don't know, get to a helicopter or something. Maybe a helicopter on the Heron Tower or something like that. Or the NatWest Tower. And he's chasing the bad guy. And he falls from the helicopter. And his case with all his memorabilia spills out onto the tarmac, the helipad. And he lies there waiting for help to come as this helicopter escapes with the MacGuffin. And 008 is meant to be on the case chasing after this helicopter, his new replacement. And he's lying there on the top of the NatWest building and he gathers his stuff into the case, and as he picks up each item he goes back into remembering something from one of the other missions in the past. And through these different pieces of memorabilia, the different people he met, their stories, he starts to make connections and he starts to realize that this whole thing of Spectre and his twin brother and everything is all a lie and was all made up in order to kind of turn him into a sort of Manchurian candidate. And then he realizes at the end, as the security team come onto the roof and arrest him, he realizes that he was the one that planted the bomb in his own building. But the reason he did it was because he had been programmed as a Manchurian candidate to blow up M. But something inside him wouldn't let him do it, so he went to blow up himself instead, somehow, subconsciously. M comes and picks him up, and all is revealed that he's been programmed like this and they've been getting him going as a Manchurian candidate. And then as he looks at all his goodies in the suitcase, the briefcase, he realizes how phony they all are and just throws them off the building and walks back into the fold. And his whole thing, his whole no Time to Die, death, all that was in his mind as well, we find out by the end. Because the whole thing was him being controlled, mind controlled by the other side. But we don't know who was controlling him at this point, and then that gives us the opportunity for lots more movies as we go deeper into who is really controlling him and who is really behind Spectre, and whether Spectre really is something and they're hiding in plain sight, or whether Spectre really is just made up. Do we ever find it out? I don't know. But anyway, I like the idea of that as a way of resurrecting Bond. And I quite like the idea that Bond has a mortal wound while he's going through this stuff, so he thinks he's going to die. And I thought that the story could be called, I always wanted to write a Bond story. I always wanted it to be called One More Shot Won't Kill Me, because he could be having a drink at the beginning of the movie, and saying one more shot won't kill me. I always thought that would be a great title for a Bond film. Let me know what you think of my James Bond idea. Just putting it together in my head now as I'm saying it to you. And if you've got other ideas, better ideas, or finesses, little improvements on my idea, stick them in the comments below, because I'd love to read them. And if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind trying to use them, and I'll come up with an even better plot. When I've thought about this, I'll come up with an even better plot, and I might even write a Bond novel. Might even write a Bond novel, if you'd like that. Have written 2 novels, one which was published, one which wasn't. So I'd quite like to do that. That would be a fun third novel to write, a Bond novel. There was another detail I wanted to add, which is that when he's going back through his memories with these things like the Fabergé egg, say, from Octopussy, or the golden gun, as he's going through all these different things, we get to see modern reconstructions of the scenes from those old films with the new Bond in those scenes. Wouldn't that be fantastic? But done in a modern filmed way, with, making it all look authentic and all look original, but with our new Bond instead of whoever it would have been. I think that would be absolutely fantastic, and reconstructed really to within an inch of their life, right? Don't you think that would be awesome? Don't you think that would get bums on seats? I would see that. If I knew they were going to remake like 7 fantastic scenes from Bond films, but in the modern filmed way, in a Daniel Craig style of filming, but with everything looking as authentic as you can possibly imagine and all the locations correct and everything. My God, I'm telling you, that would sell out. We would all go and watch that, because that would be giving us so much meat from the past, which is what holds Bond together. It's the tradition of Bond. It's all those old goodies from the past. When we think of James Bond, we think of him going way back. We don't just think of the latest film, but James Bond is all those Bonds. He's all those Bonds in our head. So what better way to get a new Bond going after Craig died than to make his death some sort of mind trick, and then reconstruct all his memories as he thinks he's dying. Of course he won't die, but he'll have a terrible, terrible limp or a terrible ache in his side or something for the rest of his Bond tenure. That will be one of his things. He'll have that bad shoulder or whatever it is. I think we're a bit past getting shot in the shoulder. That's so sort of 1960s. We don't get shot in the shoulder now, we get really shot. Bond gets really shot. Maybe he gets shot in the neck. Maybe he gets shot in the face and the bullet narrowly misses his brain. Because Bond is supposed to have a scar on his left cheek. That would be great if that detail was in, but, not to make him look like a pirate, but just a little bit of a scar on his left cheek. Just a little one. I don't think Fleming says how big the scar is. And, it could be fairly well hidden. Maybe he wears a type of glasses that just about sort of hides it a lot of the time. Or, maybe it's not so obvious. Maybe people don't know about it. Well, they're not going to know about it because he's going to get the scar in this movie. It's going to go, phew. It's going to hit him, that bullet. It's going to go, phew. It's going to nearly take his ear off. That reminded me of something else. I think that would be great. So, if you're listening to this, Dan Jack, the Broccolis, come on. You know it's a good idea. You know it.